You know, so it's different. Thank you for coming out. My name is GZA, y'all don't know, aka Genius from the Wu-Tang Clan. And I must say it's an honor to be here lecturing today at Harvard University. Thank you. I would like to thank a few people before I get started. Don, right here, Sanoki, from the Harvard Black Men's Forum. I would like to thank Alvin Carter from the Harvard Hip Hop Archives, John Wren and his team, Bro Institution, Eric Lander, Phil Richardson, Penny Chisholm, David Kaiser, Tom McCover or Macover? Macover. Ethan Zuckerman, big up to Facebook. My homeboy Juno Diaz, Peyton Kennedy, Mary Carmichael. Thanks for having me here. Thank you. I had a very interesting day today, also yesterday. I actually feel like I shouldn't be here speaking to y'all. I should be learning from y'all. You know, it's an honor. I visited Parsons Lab, amazing place, seen so many different things today, learned a lot from speaking, you know, to the professors, you know, staff, and all the students down there working real hard, and seeing what other people are doing, which is a great thing, because a lot of people, you know, they end up with jobs and careers that they hate, and they become angry and mean and mad. You're only working for the money. It's not a good thing. As many of you know, I hail from Staten Island. We call that Shaolin Wu-Tang. But some of y'all may not know I'm a Brooklynite, you know, born in Brooklyn. But by the time I moved to Staten Island or Shaolin at the age of 10, I had already lived in the Bronx, Crown Heights, Jamaica, Queens, Bushwick. Oh, we got Jamaica now. You know, my earliest memories when I first moved to Shaolin back in the days running around with GZA was around 1975. It was around the time when hip-hop was fresh and young, and kids were attracted to it like it was candy. It was something new, it was fresh. It was giving us something to do. At that time, Gertie was around the same age as GZA. He would often come to Shaolin from Brooklyn and visit. You know, we would just hang out, run around, do things kids do all the time. You know, playing on rafts back in the lakes when we couldn't even swim. You know, skating and doing things like that. All the stuff that I did when I was young, you know, as kids, skateboarding and all that. Like I said, this was around the time I started rhyming. Hip-hop was new. The rest of the clan I met from childhood up until when we formed the group. As far as lyrical wordplay, it began for me at an early age before I was even introduced to hip-hop. I used to have this book that was filled with these nursery rhymes that I was already well versed. You know, on the lyrical side, so I had this book that was filled with all these nursery rhymes, and I would study them, go back and forth, change them around. So by the time hip-hop, or I was introduced to hip-hop, I already had a little flow, little thing going on here. I'm actually shaking. When I was 9, I was living in Bushwick. I had an aunt that I used to visit all the time. Her name was Aunt Mary. I used to like to go to her house because she had a piano. Not too many people had pianos back then in the living room. She would show me how to play. one of the first songs she showed me was a gospel song. She also thought that I should take lessons, and she insisted on it. She would pay for it. But I had another cousin, a female cousin, who talked me out of it and said it was a sissy thing. When you're a teenager playing the piano, so she convinced me. To this day, I wish, I regret not taking the lessons. Another reason I used to go to my aunt's house all the time, and she had this album, the Last Poet album. You know the Last Poets, right? She had this Last Poet album, and they had these dudes that was just flowing on there. This great poetry that just pulled me in. They had this bongos and all this stuff playing in the back. But one of the reasons that I used to like to listen to the album was it had so much profanity on it. So I would go to the house and I'd go in the living room and I'd listen to these songs. And they also had the lyrics inside the sleeve, right? And I would read them all while I was listening to this music. I don't even think my aunt ever heard this album that she had. She wouldn't let me listen to it. So. Throughout my early years at MC, I was part of several groups. I started at a very young age. I was part of several groups. One was called Mission Impossible with a homeboy of mine. His name was Jackpot. It was called Scotty Watt back then. He actually told me to this day, he told me how we met. He said we met in the library reaching for the same book. I don't remember that though. We had a group called Mission Impossible, the FOI, myself, Dirty Wizard, and then we formed the All In Together Now crew. Dirty used to mention that in several songs. We formed the All In Together Now crew. That was around 1984. RZA, he was the scientist. Dirty was the specialist, and they gave me the name Genius. I never wanted that title because I thought people would expect too much, being a genius. So I didn't want to use it. I can remember a time also where we did a show and we put on the flyer because Dirty he was a beatbox. And we had put on the fly the specialist, but I took his title, the professor. He didn't like that. I didn't know if he was genius because I thought too much was expected from him. Plus, it wasn't enough words that rhyme with genius. Venus and Venus. We would formulate routines together. We would formulate routines and come up with ideas. We would battle, run all across Brooklyn, go through Staten Island, battling dudes. I actually remember one time, Dirty and I, we went to Staten Island and we battled Dugar and Capadonna. Method Man also. At that time, we didn't really, I had known Cap for years, but we didn't really know Meth. Dirty didn't know any of them. We went out there to battle, but we were in Shaolin and we were battling. And I had moves with me. I had moves. It's been maybe about 5-6 years. So we were back out there and we were battling. But we had the crowd was against us because Capadonna had the whole place screaming, kill a hill! Kill a hill! So we kind of outnumbered. Those were our early days of rhyming. That's what it was about, battling. We also used to walk around Brooklyn, battling crews. We would look for whoever was the best. We would look for them, just like a kung fu flick. Dude have skills. You go out looking for him. You challenge him, see what he's about, what he's worth. You clash your swords, and you can be a friendly dude. Not like nowadays. Shootouts now. Rap battles. But we kept it clean back then until we met the Diss Masters. It should have dawned on you. It was the Diss Masters. And he was dissing too. almost started a fight. But, so we would make these ideas and routines together and practice. And somebody asked if I ever wrote rhymes for Dirty. Well, we each use each other's rhymes, kind of recycled them because we wrote lyrics together. This is something, nowadays, artists don't, they don't write together. Sometimes we do songs and don't even meet the artist or the person who we're getting on the song with. Because of Pro Tools and all this modern technology, things like that, so we don't really get to see the person who we're getting on the track with. But hip-hop was so much part of our lives back then that we incorporated in just about everything we did was involved around hip-hop. That's how much we loved it. We would sit up all night, we would write lyrics, we would talk about rhyme flow, and we had pretty good lyrics at the time, abundance of good lyrics. We would always strive to be clever, be witty, be intelligent at the same time, and not dumbed down, One of the things about ODB, one of the things about his poetry, or, and rapping is that, poetry ends with the composition, whereas rhyming, continues with the record, so being live. ODB, like I said, he was a human beatbox, he was a multi-talented dude. RZA was also, they were DJs, MCs, and beatbox. I was just an MC. I tried to do little graffiti. I was kind of good with graffiti a little, but I used to use rulers, cups, and records to get everything straight. But Dirty was a human beatbox, and he was really good. He was one of the best that I've ever heard. And when we were battling, we would make these routines, and he would play these beats, and it would be so good. And the irony about it is that I used to write some of his beats. Yeah. Stand in front of him, waving my hands like I was a conductor, and tell him to add a symbol, and I would actually write on paper, write down music, beats. I can't read music, but if you looked at what I was writing, it wouldn't make sense to you, just like a whole bunch of crazy stuff. But I used to write these beats for him. He was the specialist, and he was really good at it, and as time went on, we progressed, we became better, I became better, we crafted our skills, and we started trying to shop out demos and get a deal, which is a whole nother story. The first time we went to the studio was in 1985. We did a song called True Fresh and Free. Dirty was doing the beatbox, but I made the track playing. It was a small studio. We were just happy to be in it. It was just a small 8-track studio. It was really small and hot and funky. This thing that was called the Papa Stopper. I know what a Papa Stopper is? It's that net. That net filters thing that's in front of the microphone. I was in the lab today, talking about viruses and There was so much of that in there. But we were happy to be in here, we did the song. We were rhyming before rap was on wax, so it wasn't like our goal or we were trying to be an MC when we got older. We just did it for the love. It was in our heart from day one. Nowadays a lot of kids want to be rappers because they think they can make a lot of money. They think it's the thing to do. You get girls, it's cool, you have all this status and you get all this money, and they don't really have respect for the art, which is not a good thing. So, we would make these demos, and we spent years trying to shop them, sending them to labels, trying to get hooked up with people. But, it took a while. But